They're trying to look out for the knockout here in this first half.
Obviously, no lead safe. Both teams are going to continue to fight to the buzzer.
A 20-point fourth quarter for Karl Anthony Towns.
He hit some threes, got to the rim, played great down the stretch.
They were down 2-0, but go on the road down by 20 and win coming from behind.
This is a great team win, but we got to be better than we were tonight if we expect to find a way to get another win.
There's no two ways about it. It's been a weird postseason with all of these enormous comebacks. Knicks come from 20 down last night to beat Indiana. They remain, however, the Pacers do, the favorites in this series. Indiana minus 200. The Knicks are plus 170. Game 4 tomorrow night. The Pacers are 2.5-point favorites going into that game. And so I will ask this question for those of you just getting up and joining us. Alan Hahn, Jay Will, who was at the game last night, and the Morris twins, Morris and Markieff. I'll start with you. Who's in control? Where does the series stand right now? If I said to you, where are we in this series right now, one in which a home team has yet to win a game, what would you say?
I would still lean towards Indiana. They still have home court advantage. They were up 20 in this game. Let's not forget about that. We needed a great performance, not even just a great performance by Cat Towns. We needed a superstar performance, and he delivered that. So there are a few things that I think that the Knicks will try to pinpoint to be better, but Indiana controlled this game from top to bottom into the last, let's say, 8 minutes.
Do the Pacers still feel in control of the series to you?
I think so. Like Marcus said, being up 20 in any game in the playoffs at home, I feel like you have that advantage. You found something to get it done, right? The fourth quarter was a lot different. Obviously, they played different guys. Cat would have had a monster fourth quarter. So I think so with the home court advantage. And look, home court advantage in the playoffs means something. I mean, obviously being up 20 and letting the rope go. I know Indiana feels the type of way, but you have to find some positives in that game.
Let me just get into that really quickly for 1 second. You're still playing. You were in the league so recently. Like, home court advantage in this postseason, it feels like, not just in this series where the home teams are 0-3, but just in general, feels like it means almost nothing. The Knicks are, what did we say? They're 6-1 now on the road in the playoffs. So when we say they still have home court advantage, does that still mean something?
In hindsight, yes. But this year and a few years now, we had this conversation yesterday. It's no great teams anymore, right? Like, anything can happen in these playoffs. As you've seen, the Boston Celtics were the best team, right? Like, they were the greatest team. They were up 20 twice.
Right.
And lost those leads. So as of now, anything can happen, Greeny. I'm not sold on any team in this playoffs.
Jay Will, the Pacers are a 2.5-point favorite in Game 4. In your opinion, which team has more pressure to win tomorrow night's Game 4?
I think the Knicks do. I mean, look, this is the Pacers team that has lost Game 3 of the last 2 series. They did it against the Bucks and they did it against the Cavs, right? So this is familiar territory for them. And also, like, look, the Knicks have gone through 3 grueling series, this being their 3rd. Obviously, Detroit was very physical. Boston was a mentally taxing series. And now to enter this with Jalen Brunson being in foul trouble, him being hunted, Cat having the big impact game. I think all the pressure is on the Knicks. You can't afford to go back to MSG, a place in which you're 3-5, being down 3-1.
There's no question that you have to keep winning games here because they have to make up for both games at home. You could say that this win was sort of the one that got Game 1 back because it was a similar situation. The Knicks had the big lead, blew it, lost the game. And the Pacers had the big lead, blew it, lost the game. So you could say, okay, you've made up for that Game 1, but you still got to get another one to bring it back, and then you have back control of the series. The Knicks have kind of gone through a transformation in this series. They went from the team that came into it thinking this is how we play, and the Pacers showed them you shouldn't play like that because we have an answer for everything. They have been transforming, and so we have to see now if this latest, what they did in the second half of Game 3, works now for the rest of the series, especially in Game 4.
And there was an interesting observation that Charles Barkley made last night after the game. The Knicks they made their run last night with Karl Anthony Towns going, as you said, out of his mind in the fourth quarter, and Jalen Brunson, for the most part, on the bench with foul trouble. And here were what Charles Barkley had to say after the game.
I'm hoping this is a wake-up call for Brunson. Like, yo, man, you're going to have to get off the ball. They've had their 2 best spurts in this series, Game 1 and today. They've had their best while everybody's getting involved. He has to learn from that and get off the ball a little bit more.
That's an interesting observation for a guy in Jalen Brunson who is second-team All-NBA this year and has been so beloved, certainly here. And so, what, Jay Will, I mean, as a guy whose job it was to have the ball in your hands, what do you make of that from Chuck?
I mean, you can ask the guys on set. I mean, look, I'm not taking Jalen Brunson and putting him off the ball. I mean, the guy is dynamic, and where he's been brilliant is being on the ball and controlling the pace of the game. I definitely like having Deuce McBride and Landry Shamet and spelling him minutes, but I like the way Jalen Brunson has been playing. You know, also something else that Greeny nobody's really talked about yet is that Aaron Naismith hurt his ankle in the end of that third quarter. That was a huge momentum swing. There's a quick turnaround for him with 48 hours to get back on the court, but he is their defensive stopper. Will he be available to go in game 4 is going to be a critical question for how Indiana likes to play, not just pace-wise, but also defensively. Not only did he make huge threes in game 1, but defensively, he's been the guy guarding Jalen Brunson each and every possession.
So is Jalen Brunson a liability in this series? Is obviously a huge, that's a very, very strong way to put what is a more nuanced point, which is Jalen Brunson playing with the ball in his hands at all times. And he tends to dribble the shot clock down, sort of probe, right, find a spot, make a play. And so what Charles is suggesting is that maybe if the ball is flowing a little bit more.
I think Charles is missing the point. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. What he's missing is that when the runs happen with Brunson off the court, that should be more a sign that Tom Thibodeau needs to start trusting the bench more and giving guys off the bench more, because the Pacers have played a lot of guys off the bench. Because Jalen Brunson, last I checked, in the first 2 games, has scored the most points of any player in a conference final since LeBron James in 2009. He is getting his offense, he's getting to his spots, and he is scoring. The problem is when you don't play enough bench guys, he wears down, some other players wears down. But you need to get production off your bench. You need to get defense off your bench. And that's what you're learning when he is on the bench, is that you're getting guys coming in and making a difference. They got to lean on them more.
Well, how about that idea? The idea that perhaps when the ball, that's what Charles Barkley is saying, to be clear, is that when the ball is moving and everyone gets a little more involved, the Knicks are one of those teams, and there's certainly, feels like half the NBA does this, where they play ISO, they have one guy who's just to try and make his play, draw the defense, and then either make the right pass or make the shot. He's suggesting that maybe if the ball is moving a little bit more, it benefits the Knicks offensively. It looked like it did last night.
I mean, to Chuck's point, I get what he's saying. As a team, they went on runs with Jalen Brunson on the bench, right? The pace kind of picked up, but it doesn't make sense. Jalen Brunson has been in this position. He's the reason why they even in the conference finals, right? And also, these guys have been playing together. He knows when he needs to get off the ball. Jalen Brunson's a really smart player, really educated player. The 5 guys around him, they all get their shots. Let's just talk about Cat. I don't think this had anything to do with Jalen Brunson. Cat had a dominant performance in the 4th quarter, and he had to do it with Jalen Brunson on the bench. But Jalen Brunson is a plus for the Knicks at any time. I don't think he holds the ball too much. I think they need him to be super aggressive to even stay in half of these games.
Yeah, and clearly, Jalen Brunson is the most important player on the team by a wide margin. The question is whether there were certain things around the margins that they're able to figure out.
Cứ lần lượt cho mình cho đến hết. Đấy. Mũi nữa nhé. Ở cái chân cuối là móc 2 mũi. Để cộng với 3 mũi ban đầu thì sẽ là được 5 nhé. Bây giờ móc xuống đây. Móc vào đây. Đây sẽ được cái phần như thế này. Cái phần len nó dài dài thế này, 2 đầu bo tròn. Đấy, bo tròn ở 2 đầu như vậy, rồi giờ sẽ móc cái hàng tiếp theo lên. Mình sẽ sử dụng sang cái màu len trắng nha mọi người. Bây giờ sẽ móc vào. Mình siết chặt phần len màu cam lại. Đây, mình sẽ móc nối nó nhé, móc nối vòng quanh nha mọi người. Hàng này thì sẽ móc là những cái mũi đơn đi. Hàng này mình móc mũi đơn thôi. Đây, móc vào. Cứ luân phiên từng mũi một nhé mọi người. Đây, móc tiếp những mũi nữa. Cứ luân phiên từng mũi cho mình. Đấy, móc tiếp xuống. Cứ lần lượt cho mình cho đến hết. Mũi nữa này. Đấy, móc lần lượt cho mình vòng quanh. Tiếp nha mọi người. Rồi, móc những mũi tiếp nữa. Đấy, cứ móc lần lượt cho mình nhé. Mũi tiếp theo. Rồi, mũi tiếp theo. Đấy, mình sẽ móc vào như thế này. Tiếp nha mọi người. Móc những mũi tiếp theo vào.